Welcome, dear friends. Wow, tiger, and I'm actually wearing a beautiful collection, which is a brand new collection called Tiger Dendritic Agate. I think this one is. It is. Dendritic, yes, it is. It's from Indonesia. Worked with these for many, many years, but big pieces. I had big pieces. This time I got some beautiful pieces. Look at that. It's gorgeous. Anyway, we're not talking about that today. I will do a video one day on it. I don't know when. But welcome. Today we're going to talk about the ego and strength, power, the energy of the warrior. So the difference between the ego and the warrior energy, or the strength within us. And sometimes we get that mixed up a little bit. Sometimes we don't know which is which. And I find that, I always find that fascinating. Are you working from strength and power because you've got that determination, you know what you want, and you speak your truth and you speak, or is it coming from ego? That's always a difficult one to see, especially when you're looking in the mirror, or if you dare look in the mirror. Predominantly, most people can spot ego, but sometimes they can't because it's kind of well hidden in between truth and yeah. I guess I don't want to use the word exaggeration, but maybe creativity is a better word. We're a bit creative, especially in the spiritual field. Especially in the spiritual field. I've never seen it. I've never seen as much ego, creative ego. Maybe that's the word, creative ego. I don't know. Could that possibly be two words? So it was, I didn't even know. I had no clue. Am I anti? I don't know. But I remember one mentor when I first began this field of work. It was a fascinating thing because she sat with me and told me something that, sometimes you don't even see. I didn't see that. I was too busy trying to understand this field of work. So I remember going to a circle night, and it was all about attunement. So we'd gone there to learn to attune, and part of the attunement on this particular circle, led by this lovely lady, was meditation, a talk, meditation, and other things that we learn. And I remember this was my probably 7th time I went, and I was really enjoying it. I was learning so many different things, thoroughly enjoying it. And there was about 9 people in this class, and there were 2 guys, me and another guy, and there were about 6 or 7 other ladies there. It was fascinating. So I think I'd gone, it was about my 8th time, and every week we were all there. And I remember sat there and we did some practicing, okay? Practicing of how to attune into spirit, how to connect, and any messages or anything that we got through the meditation. And when we'd finished, it was clear to see that I just, that night, nothing for me, simply nothing. And everybody else, it was, everybody else was like on a roll, very powerful, what they were saying. And I just, again, it was, I didn't feel bad. I didn't want anything. I was just enjoying the journey, and there was other ththings that I was getting from it. So it wasn't just about tuning into, Uncle John who's passed away and he had an issue with this, or the colour curtains that Grandma Pam had, and like none of that. So it was interesting. It was like I just didn't get any of it, and it was said. I don't know how it was said, but it was said that I wasn't doing very well and I wasn't performing as I should perform. And I don't know where it came from. It could have come from 2 or 3 different people. And I went, okay. And in my head, I'm like, okay, so I wasn't scolded, but I was basically said that I wasn't very, I was basically saying that I wasn't any good. Okay, And in my head, I'm thinking, I wasn't interested what they were saying. I was just trying to figure out, how can I be better? What can I do to improve? I know I'm not gifted like all of these people, but what can I do to I do know that there's something in me that I can offer. I know there's something I can give to the world. I know there's something, and there's a reason why I'm here. So the following week, I was determined to come back and be even more in peace, more open, more, all the things that you want to, when you're doing something that you really want to do, you don't get upset over it. You don't, if somebody, not scolds you, but says, you're not doing too good, you know what I mean? A bit like, look, you failed these marks. So without saying it, they kind of said, you've got 0. But it was okay. But at school, I just used to be a mess at school because I never got anything right, and it just used to upset me so much. I used to be so upset because I wanted to do well. I wanted to be good at something, and I just couldn't. It just didn't happen. I didn't have that brain, that memory to be able to memorize things and then write them down again. I just didn't have it. So, but that really upset me. This didn't upset me at all. Not one bit. In fact, I was more determined next week, and I went everywhere else to learn more and just keep practicing, keep my meditation up, because I knew there was something in this. And this wasn't about feeling bad. It wasn't about feeling ashamed. This is about my own personal journey. If I'm ashamed and feeling bad, then it doesn't make any sense. I'm doing it for me. So anyway, the next week I came back more determined than ever. And this is where it all took a turn for the worst. So we all went into meditation, and I don't know what it was, but the room felt bloody horrible. It felt awful, and it felt like the only thing I could think is more than one person was in a bad place, and the frequency of the room, but nobody said anything. And we went into meditation straight away. So after 20 minutes, the music gently went down, and our guide, teachers said, did anybody feel anything? So it started at one end of the room, and this was very common in circles. This lady said, I met Lord Buddha, and he gave me this message. And then the next person said, I met Lord Buddha, and I saw 2 angels at the side of him. Then I met somebody, then it went to the next person, and everybody who it went to, their story was bigger than the last person's story. So it came like, I saw 15 eagles, 15 angels. I saw Archangel Michael and Metatron, and then it came to me, and the teacher looked at me and smiled and said, what did you see? And I looked at her again. I said, nothing. I said, I just couldn't feel anything in this room other than I'm really sorry, but there's an awful energy in this room, and I can't explain why, but I cannot attune with this energy at all. It's like there's a block, and somebody in this room, or some people in this room, are in a bad place. Then this lady started crying, tears. As I'm speaking, I'm saying that it looks like somebody's either been hurt or or something's happened to them, and somebody else. And I started then attuning to these people that they've just gone through a terrible thing that they kept inside. The teacher looked at me and she said, I'd like you all just stop a moment and just listen to what Mark's just said. And she said, because what he's just said is absolutely 100%. Because I couldn't meditate neither, because the room is so dense of heavy energy that this is absolutely impossible to meditate and feel anything, because some of you are in a bad place. And as Mark said, there is no way this is a human of spiritual. This is ego. That's all she said. So basically what she said was, you thought you were attuning into meeting the Buddha and angels, but all it was is with your brain and ego. Nothing was said. We continued the night. It was very silent. The room never got any better. In fact, it got worse, and I couldn't wait to leave. I left, and the following week, like, I was the same. I still wanted to learn. I was feeling, oh, Mark's a good boy. No, I didn't even think that. I just spoke my truth. Remember, if I was going to say that, I was going to look stupid, right? Again, I can't do it. So I'm just being honest. But now the teacher agreed that there was bad energy and there's no way you could meditate in this kind of energy. It's impossible. So you must have been in your ego. So now, remember last week, everybody was kind of mocking me. And now this week, it's like, okay, well, they might have had a bit of a taste of how I felt last week, but I didn't really feel any bad, anything negative. It's like, you just do better next week. So the following week came. I'm looking forward to come again, and let's hope everybody's feeling well. I was hoping that these two ladies who had gone through abuse by one was a partner, one was a husband. I think they got on the same night. They must have got a slap or something happened to them. And I'm like thinking, please be happy. Please everybody be okay, because this is about our personal growth. And if anybody, now I've realized, if anybody's negative in the room, it's going to be hard to get the energy up so we can feel that energy. This is all truth, guys. You won't get told this in circle nights, but this is truth. So anyway, I get there, the door opens, sit down, and I'm the first one. Not normally the first one. So I sat there, and she's looking at me, smiling at me. The teacher, I'm looking at her, and I'm like 15 minutes late, 20 minutes late, and she looks at me, she says, you know, don't you? I says, no, what? She says, think about it. And then penny dropped. I went, I didn't say anything. She says, that is the ego in people. And this is what we have to deal with. Really interesting. Nobody came. I was the only person there. So, I'm not going to put that down. It made me realize it was awful. It was bloody awful. It made me realize how men and women have great ego, and when their ego is confronted, when the truth comes out, and when they've been proven that they actually just didn't come from a place where basically they must have felt so bad, knowing that they basically exaggerated. They just made things up. And this is the problem with the spiritual field of work. And I talk about this a lot in spiritual groups. And I talk about it because I want people to know that you're not going to get away with it if you're in this group. And you're not going to do it if you're going to walk the spiritual path, or else you're just like all the rest of them. And I don't like to tarnish everybody with the same brush, but there's so many people who claim to be spiritual and use spirituality as a form of defense every time they get caught out, or every time they get it wrong. And it's sickening to me. It's sickening. It makes me sick, because you're just a liar and you're using spirituality to get away with it, which is, to me, the worst crime, the worst sin. Don't use spirituality to get away with what you want in your ego and your selfishness, and to get away with not looking stupid. So that is something that I find extremely interesting in this field of work called spirituality. And one of the reasons why I don't mix with many people, because most people in general, very few that I've met, actually truly attune to the spirit world. And most people, without knowing, well, maybe they do, because they have a lot of doubt. I have more, you know what? I have more belief in somebody that says, I'm not sure if it was or wasn't, than somebody who says, oh yeah, I speak to the spirit world. You know, it really is that way with me, because I think ego plays a huge part in the spiritual field, huge. And it feeds so many people's egos. I have met so many people who claim to be channelers, and that are not channeling at all. They're channeling ego, and it's dangerous. And you know, when you're confronted, I've spoken to you guys about this so many times, I realized that I was sat in front of people and I was reading for them. And as I'm reading for them, all of a sudden I could feel their truth, their power just dissolve, and they almost like just open their arms out and say, tell me everything, tell me what to do, tell me how to do it. And that for me was the most frightening part of doing a reading, because when I first started, I was only learning. I was only working towards, how can I do this correctly? And as I'm doing it correctly, this kind of sometimes it worked really well, and the words were coming out which were who knows at that time, was it my attunement to that person's energy that I could pick up and pick out fragments out of their daily life and pain and suffering that I could attune to and talk about? Or am I really talking about their family in the spirit world? All of these things that were always on my mind, trying to figure out how to get this right and how not to say something that you don't know. That's the most important thing. If you don't know, just say you don't know. Don't make things up. Get your ego out of the way. Just be honest. Say, look, I don't know. But then when you hit upon something, and then that person just, what's the word? Surrenders to you. That is an awful feeling for me. That was the feeling that I felt sick. You can't explain it. If you're a reader, you understand this. There's times when somebody will just surrender because now they just believe anything you're saying, because you actually said something that there's no way nobody could know this. So now this person believes that you are genuine. So because of that, I'm going to surrender myself and let you do and say anything. That is a no-no to me. And I get angry when I see people do that. Stand up, straighten yourself up. Don't submit yourself like this. This is not, so I couldn't say that. But what I could do is change it. And the way I did that is that when they went into that surrender moment, that tell me anything, do anything, that is when I thought, okay, this is the opportunity. As a true spiritual reader, as a true loving, kind person, now you give them that power. Give it them back and tell them who they are and how powerful they are, so that surrender becomes, oh yeah, I am powerful. Yeah, I am strong. You are right. Okay, thank you very much. And then they go out and do what they need to do. But I saw so many readers, and I'm scrunching already because it made me sick, that at that given moment when that client surrendered, they did things and said things to them that made me want to leave this field of work. And that's why I kept myself to myself. And I always say, people say, why do you always say don't go for a reading too much and don't do it when you're doing it? And I'm saying because I saw the danger of what it does. And why do you talk about speaking to the spirit world, and yet you tell people not to go to spiritual churches? Yeah, because I saw the danger that it did to a lot of people. They surrender themselves every week or twice a week, waiting. Please, I want somebody to come through for me. I mean, that's not healthy. But that's not for everybody, because some of you guys probably go to church and you love singing and just enjoy it. I get that. But there is an element of people who basically live, eat and breathe this. And that's not life. You suddenly pass away and you look at yourself, is that what it was all about? So I slap people in an emotional way. Hey, what are you doing here? Well, I've come to get messages from the spirit world. But you're here all the time. Well, think about it. What was the point being here in this world? What is the point of living this life in this world if all you're ever doing is trying to get back home and listen to their messages and know it? Why? There's no point of coming here. You might as well have stayed at home. Live your life. Yes. Utilize that beautiful energy as part of your daily life. Yes, know it and feel it and connect with it yourself. You don't need to go to a church to do it. Okay, the energy's good. I get it. But sometimes, a lot of the times, and most of the time, people don't find the balance. And then it becomes, as far as I'm concerned, very dangerous. Very dangerous. And if you keep going for a reading, then something's very wrong. Either you're not listening or you're going to the wrong person. there was times that people came to me and I'm saying, what are you doing here? Well, I just wanted another reading. I just love it. And I'm saying, no, you're just going to waste €120 for an hour of me reading for you. Yeah, but you said you don't remember what you say. And I said, no, I don't remember what I say, but I can tell you clearly from what my clients have told me. I normally say the same thing because it's the same thing. It hasn't changed. So, I just love it, Mark. Oh my God. Okay, well, just one more time. Give him a reading. When I've finished, it's everything you said is exactly what you said 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, or 4 weeks ago, or a month ago. Well, that's exactly what I said. So you've just wasted that money. Yeah, I know, but I just wanted to come. Well, maybe you should get on with your life, shelve what you've just been told, and enjoy your life, and then take some of it down whenever you need it. Oh, Mark said this. I remember Mark mentioning that. Maybe I'll just be aware of that. Wow, that happened on flipping heck. Mark said that. It's amazing. I got a message 3 days ago for a lady who had a reading 12 years ago. She sent me a message, I need another reading. I said, I'm sorry, I'm retired, which I do every day. But 12 years ago, she said, everything that you said came true. Every single thing. And I'm saying, well, the spirit world is amazing. They're amazing because there is no space and time. And like for me, it's like I wanted to conquer the time aspect, but I couldn't. I'll be honest with you, I couldn't. Sometimes I'd hit it bang on. And a lot of people will tell you, if you look at my testimonials, a lot of people will tell you. But I tell you this, a lot of the times I got it wrong because I am trying to understand space and time, but in the spirit world, there isn't any space and time. So it's kind of like they just laugh. I think they just laugh. I think they're very amused by us. But it's interesting how we're so narrow-minded by the way we see spirituality and see things. We don't really open enough. We just only see a glimpse of what there is out there and so much more. So it's really interesting, yeah. I might say, and eventually I used to say, look, this is 8, so it could be 8 weeks, it could be 8 hours, it could be 8 months, but it's definitely on the 8. And for me, it wasn't really that important. But that's when I used to think, okay, I'm not getting this right all the time. So why don't I just say I can see it's on an 8? So it could be the 8th day, the 8th hour, or the 8th month, or the 8th year. But normally it's not years. Normally it's... But then it did become 8 years. I remember one lady who came to me and I said, it's 4. It could be 4 weeks, 4 months, something like that. And I remember saying, I don't think it's 4 years. I always used to say, I don't think it's years. And then it was actually to the day, it was 4 years to the day that what I saw happened. And it was like, it was to the day. Ooh, got that wrong. Well, did you get it wrong? In the spirit world, you didn't get it wrong because that's what it was. You saw the 4 and that's what you shared. So, but I found it fascinating. But I think having walked this path of spirituality and meeting many, many psychics, many healers, many channelers, I got to be honest, I think there's only a very small percentage who are really attuned to that energy, and most of them not so much. But that's okay because it's the course of life. It's what we go through. It's that I think that's why I stopped, because it was exhausting to be able to, imagine having somebody's life in your hands, giving them information at that minute. That really it really does take a lot of energy, because you know how important and how dangerous it could be if you're not careful in what you say and how you say it. Because like I said to you, if you know that black magic doesn't work, if you know that spells, in the sense of negative spells, don't work, but they do work if you make somebody believe it, then, because this is where it's so confusing to people. When I say black magic, voodoo, witchcraft, all that doesn't work, people will say, yes, it does. And I'll say, well, it only works if you believe it. Now, it's hard for people to understand that. The other day I had a phone call, and I'm not going to say anything other than that. It was a phone call, and it was a healer who said, I need your help. And I said, I can't help you. I'm in another country. I can't help you. And I said, and it's not really my work anymore. or it's really important, this person's got demons inside them, blah, blah, blah. And I said, look, the only thing I can suggest is fully sage and in a room, a smallest room you can get, fully sage that person, remain in that room with her, pray, put your hands upon her head, just keep your hands there, send good energy with all that sage in the room, and it's gone, if it is an entity. Anyway, just before the phone went dead, right, the woman must have been there, and the woman said, I can't remember what it was, but it was something like, don't tell anybody. I don't want anybody to know. Don't tell anybody. I want this. And like, okay. I didn't say anything. Phone went dead. I thought, let me tell you something, guys. If you've ever been in the company of somebody who is, let's say, possessed, the word is possessed is what people know as that we have something inside us that is controlling us. Let me tell you this. There is no way on this earth that you would say to somebody, or you would be worried about what anybody else would say or think. And the reason why is because when you have an entity in you and you are in the state that this woman claimed to be, you realize that that has nothing to do with entities. That is that own person has created that to disguise the pain and suffering that they're going through. So it's basically an automatic switch that then passes all blame onto something else, so that that person cannot see themselves or look at themselves, or who dare not have the strength to look at themselves in their life. So that's why they do this. And that more often than not, that's what happens. When you are in the company of, here's one wonderful thing that once happened to me, and I've done it a few times, but I'm just giving you one moment of how I see it works, because I had the strength eventually to be able to do these things. And I used to say to certain people who claimed to have darkness, I knew there was no darkness. I used to say to them, I used to speak to them and look at them and say, move. And I'd just say something, move something in this room. And they'd look at me. And what do you mean? I said, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the entity inside you. If it's any power at all, it will move something in this room now. And they just freak out because they realize that they're caught out. They realize that nothing's going to move in the room because there is no entity. And that would shut them off straight away. And they'd come back into the mind, and that ego would disappear and the fear would disappear. I'd said, there's nothing inside you. I said, but what we do need is to heal you and clear you and make you feel better. Spend an hour, 2 hours, up again, now give us a cuddle. They'd walk out. Either two things had happened. They'd realised what an idiot I've been. I can't believe I did that, which is very normal and happens to a lot of people. Or they go away and then create something again because they can't face their truth inside them. They can't face what their inner demons are. Inner demons, not the demons that are outside that come into us, which is very, very rare. Very rare. So what I've learned and what I've experienced has done me proud when it's come to me sitting and talking amongst the spiritual community, because they can't really fool me because of the years that I've been doing it and the hours that I've put into it and the experience that I've gone through, which many, many people may have, but I haven't met them. And when I do communicate with people who claim to be spiritual workers and healers, most of them haven't even done a few healing sessions a week. And they don't really, they claim to be this and they claim to be that. But, you know, it's very easy to see it's ego, and then they get angry and then they start attacking, and you realize you're not really anything that you claim to be. And thus, ego is easy to see in the world of true enlightenment and spirituality. And let me tell you, most of spirituality is fake. Most of spirituality that you see on TV or people speaking or the TikTok videos or the famous is utter ego completely. And it's very rare to find genuine. It really is. And there you go. The story of ego and the story of true spiritual connection. So if some of these words serve you well, you may sit and ponder on them. You'll sit and meditate on them. And don't worry if there's ego there, because once you recognize it, you're one step closer to healing from it. And ego is always going to be there. It's always going to challenge you. It's always challenging me every day. And I've done many things that I wish I didn't do, but I learned from them and became a better person in those 2 years of learning. And then I think deep down inside me knows the truth, and that's all that matters. And when ego comes into play, see you later. You're no longer needed. And once you kill the ego by acknowledging it and refusing to feed it, you find that your life does end up ego free. But sometimes it does jump up and bite you in your backside, for sure. It's really interesting. I don't know if I've tackled this subject well or not, but I guess it's a nice conversation for half an hour. And hey, tell me what you think. So have a great day. What else? Don't know really. That's it. Oh, I think, yeah, no, I can't be bothered. It's about China's too. Yeah, I can't be bothered about that. That's fine. Have a great day. I don't want to spoil it. Have a great day. Take care. Love you all. Bye now.